stage as we run down towards the finish in Nani Scalo. As you can see, wet roads, and the peloton are now homing in on the two breakaway riders who have been on the attack for around about 170 kilometers today. They were also with one rider from Euskaltel, but Benedetti, now the king of the mountains of Tirreno Adriatico, with Viali in the luminous yellow. Their time in the lead is almost over, and the amount of work being done now by the sprinters teams has paid dividends. So as we go up this little rise, they are about to be caught, and then it's all about making sure that things are safe, and the sprinters and the Grand Tour and Major Tour contenders who are in this field are looked after. Now Cannondale in the lime green take control. The breakaway is over, 170 kilometers in the lead nearly, and now Cannondale trying to line things up for a win for Peter Sagan.
Yeah, it looks like Cannondale don't want this to be I would say an easy sprint like it was yesterday in the flat finishing circuits, and you know, Peter Sagan has decided, right, in these conditions I want to be as far to the front as possible. Safety is the key word here to keep them out of major trouble. But just as we say that, one of his riders just peels off to the front, but they really want to make it a difficult, a hard final 20 kilometres. It's up and down, there are twists and turns, and it does get a bit more difficult than it was yesterday. And Sagan, he wants to get rid of the big sprinters teams. He knows that Omega Pharma Quickstep have been riding quite a wee bit today. They took it easier for a few kilometres, but on these small inclines, he wants to make it difficult. He wants to take the sting out the sprinters and the sprinter lead-out teams, and you know, you can just see some gaps starting to appear, but this is going to be a difficult final 20 kilometres for everybody, and Peter Sagan and his team of Cannondale at the front trying to make it difficult for everybody.
Well, you have to admire the way Peter Sagan rides. He doesn't play by the rules all the time. He doesn't go with the tactics everyone's expecting. Interestingly, the tactics of Cannondale at the weekend in Strada Bianca were really impressive. The way they rode, the way they ran into the finish. They used Moreno Moser as the man who was the other pawn to play against the rest of the competition. They left Sagan with everyone watching him. Today, as we're expecting everyone to just get ready for a bunch sprint, Peter Sagan says, no, I'm not having any of that. Let's just turn the tables on everyone, put everyone in the gutter, give them some pain, and let's see if we can take a breakaway group. And Brian, we know that there is a fast descent back down to Nani Scalo, and that could split this race apart.
Well, Peter Sagan knows that yesterday he was outclassed in the sprint, and it's not often you say you put Sagan and outclassed together in one sentence, and he was beaten fairly and squarely in yesterday's sprint finish. And for Sagan, he likes the kind of more difficult finishes. He hasn't got the big punch that the likes of Cavendish and others have got, so he's putting the pressure on, and this is why you've got Nibali coming up towards the front, Cancellara looking after Chris Horner now, and you know, some of the major contenders of this race coming up towards the front, because they know that the pressure is on inside the last 20 kilometres. But unfortunately for Peter Sagan, he's only got Caruso in front of him, and how longer can Caruso keep this pace up for?
It's not nice, is it? It's pouring with rain, the spray's in the eyes, and suddenly all the contenders have had to move up. Tony Martin goes up the outside there in the white and black of Omega Pharma Quickstep. I've noticed Contador is up there. Fabian Cancellara brings Chris Horner to the front. Horner, a possible winner of Tirreno Adriatico. Now we've got the attack at the front, and the pace goes up, and it is Euskaltel Euskadi, and the rider who is on the front is Jorge Adsanza, who's just stretching the legs of everybody else. Also near the front looks like Sergio Henao of Team Sky also moves towards the front, the rider who was in the top 10 of the Giro d'Italia last year, and suddenly everyone's just looking for wheels and trying to just stay there if they can. Yeah,
Tony Martin just needs to keep the pressure on slightly, stop anybody else from attacking. One of his other teammates coming down the outside, they just need to keep the pressure on slightly. But over that small climb there, it did look hard, and you know, Asanza did put everybody under pressure, and Team Sky going on to attack, and it's Uran for Team Sky now on the attack. He's taking his opportunity. For me, maybe a wee bit too late, because it still look as if the bunch are now being controlled by a lot of the sprinter teams.
Really wet roads, dangerous moments for these riders. Rigoberto Uran, the Colombian rider who was the white jersey, of course, of the Giro d'Italia last year, as he makes his way down the descent, tries to open up a little bit of an advantage. Sky, of course, with a good squad here. Chris Froome, Dario Cataldo, the young American rider Joe Dombrowski, Sergio Henao, Pete Kenyock of Great Britain, also in there, Christian Knies, Salvatore Puccio, and this man who's on the attack. So Uran now makes a move, one rider going with him. Crash here, and a few riders have hit the deck, and tangling up. One rider there on the left hand side is the MTN rider. Is that Dombrowski, who I think who's crashed?
South African champion down. Greg Henderson down for Lotto Belisol. I think it's Dombrowski there for Team Sky, but South African champion there, down for MTM Quebec.
So there's all sorts of problems there, you can tell. Another problem on the left-hand side for one of the Garmin riders. So where this race was calm and easy and steady, now we are seeing crashes on this descent. 17 kilometers to go, and today's Tirreno Adriatico. Join us for the conclusion.
A very passionate moment. It was like a dream. It changed after that.
He raced there in 2009. Now he's back. Grey's Anatomy's Patrick Dempsey is gearing up for Le Mans.
Extraordinary 24-hour period. It's a big chess game. Mentally, I'm prepared for that.
Follow Patrick Dempsey's preparations for the Le Mans 24-hour race today at 1700 on Eurosport.
Dealing with the challenges ahead requires focus, concentration, and a will to succeed. The International University Sports Federation, representing 163 countries, promotes sports values in tune with the academic spirit. Thousands of students from around the world participate in the events it organizes. And what do they learn? Friendship, integrity, cooperation, and achievement. The International University Sports Federation. Excellence in mind and body.
Every day is a new challenge, an opportunity to make a difference. Since 2005, FIFA has supported over 200 social development programs. FIFA's Football for Hope initiative is helping to change lives and bring hope through the power of football.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's Live Score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store.
Race day fever, with all the colour and all the frills and all the tensions and all the thrills on one of the biggest occasions of the year. Horse racing time and the Emirs Trophy, Monday at 11:45 on Eurosport.
Horse racing time, in association with Longines.
Welcome back to the run-in on today's stage of Tirreno Adriatico, as we look here at a quick recap of what's happened since we were away. Juan Antonio Flecha with a big attack for Vacansoleil, being chased by Fabian Cancellara. Cancellara trying to go across to Juan Antonio Flecha. Flecha, of course, such a magnificent professional bike rider. He's been on the podium of Paris-Roubaix. The man who's chasing him now, winner of Paris-Roubaix. and Flescher looked very strong on Saturday at Strada Bianca. Here we are live then as we look down at what is happening out here on the road. Suddenly this stage of Tirreno has exploded all over the road. Everything is starting to happen, and it's this man now who is doing all the damage. Juan Antonio Flescher being chased. I think towards the front is Nibali, also up towards the front. One of the Lamprey riders through the murk of the sort of the rain that's falling on these riders, and we'll try and pick everyone out. But Juan Antonio Flescher honing his form towards the classics, looking strong as he powers his way down this descent. Has a little bit of an advantage, but it's not significant. Almost 5 hours of racing on today's 190-kilometre stage. Now the counter-attack starts to happen, and I'm wondering if that might be Lars Boom.
Yeah, it looks to me as if it's Lars Boom for Blanco team. But everybody knew, all the teams knew that, you know, the last 20-odd kilometres were like this, very twisty and turny and dangerous, and you know, Omega Pharma Quickstep took it up with about 30 kilometres to go. Then we had Peter Sagan and his Cannondale team put everybody under pressure on that small incline. We've got obviously a bit of a descent here. We've already had a couple of crashes. The South African champion for MTM Quebecer down at the side of the road, Jay Thompson, Dombrovski. Also seen Greipel's lead out man, Greg Henderson, down. So if this does come to a sprint, Greipel will be missing you know, his main lead out man. So yeah, getting a wee bit scrappy. Few riders deciding to go on the attack. Flescher, Boom, Nibali, Cancellara interested. So this is going to be a very exciting final 12 kilometres here in Tirreno.
This is what it's all about. Proper bike racing, as we see Lars Boom. He was so disappointed at the weekend. I interviewed him on the stage of Strada Bianca on Saturday. He wanted to win Strada Bianca, and he'd been sick all week, and he just did not have the form. He climbed off, and he was deeply disappointed about it. Now he's got his form back. You can see how hard he'd been training for that race. Him and Flescher on the attack at the front, and it's Lars Boom who's going away as these riders chase him down this descent. But this man, of course, such a magnificent cyclocross rider, is really at home on these wet roads. He will put in as much through these corners as he possibly can. Up towards the front, Tony Martin, but look now at the power of this man as he tries to open up the gap.
This is a good attack, and you see Lars Boom giving it absolutely 100% here. Still a long way to go, 10.7 kilometres. It's going to be very difficult for him to stay away on his own. Probably be better if he'd taken maybe 2 or 3 other riders with him, and a general regroupment now in the bunch. And now we're off this descent, I think Omega Pharma Quickstep will start to take a wee bit more control inside the last 10 kilometres. But what a few kilometres it was there. Absolute chaos with Sagan's team going on the attack down that descent. Couple of crashes and you know, chaos on the peloton, but I think all calm will happen in the next kilometre or two.
Oh, he ain't half stamping on these pedals, is he? He is giving this full beans now. 10.2 kilometres to go to the finish, and it's Orica Greenedge who've decided, right, we really have to do something about this. The red jersey, Matti Goss, the winner of Milano Sanremo, in 3rd place there, as he looks around, thinks, what am I going to do with this jacket? I've got to do something with it, and he decides, right, a fan can have it. So it goes to the side of the road. There is no time for anyone to look after these riders. Lars Boom on the attack. Orica Greenedge trying to bring things through. You'll notice the tattoo on the inside of the arm there of Lars Boom. Look at this. He's giving it absolutely everything. Can he hold them off's the question. Wearing number 21. Is this going to be lucky for him today as he really drives these pedals over? Pretty magnificent effort from Lars Boom. Now looking back at the peloton on the front, Orica Greenedge. Matti Goss is up there. Moving up on the right-hand side from Omega Pharma Quickstep. Nicky Terpstra
Cavendish has just come up to the front there. Been brought up by Terpstra, the Dutch champion. So yeah, it's all back to normal now. We've got Lars Boom on his own, 9.3 kilometres to go. but you've got so many of the sprinter teams after the kind of chaos of that descent now coming back to the front. Omega Pharma Quickstep have got their man Mark Cavendish. He only must have about 20 seconds. That shake of the head there, he knows he's not going to be able to stay away on his own for the final 9 kilometres. He doesn't have a big enough advantage. He looked round there, saw the bunch there. He was hoping maybe 2 or 3 riders would have maybe chipped across to him and they would have stood a chance, but just look at the size of the bunch now, and all calm back in there, and Orica Green Edge have got their man Matt Goss, winner yesterday in the red jersey. Cavendish is there, so again looking back towards a sprint finish with 1 kilometre to go on the line and then 7.7 kilometres to the finish.
Lars Boom on the attack, 8.5 kilometres to go on today's stage of Tirreno Adriatico as we head down now towards the passage of the finish line for the first time. So you get a full run through of exactly how this finish is going to be, and you'll see whether it's tricky or not tricky with 500 metres to go to the line, and then he will get the bell. Lars Boom looks under his armpit there and he can see the cavalry's all behind him, led by Orica Green Edge. Lining up behind them are the team of Omega Pharma Quickstep. The motorbikes getting a little bit in the way here. So it just shows you come swinging round that corner, 500 metres to go, and then it's flat all the way to the run, to the finish, flat, straight. It's Cavendish and Greipel territory. Lars Boom looks around. It's 1 lap of 7.7 kilometres to go on today's stage of Tirreno Adriatico, and the sprinters are all getting ready to try and bring this one home on wet roads. It's going to be a thrilling climax to today's stage.
Well, Team Blanco have come here without really a big sprinter. They lost Brang Tankink earlier today, and yesterday they went on the attack with Seth Van Mark. Today with Lars Boom, but like yesterday, Boom is going to be caught, and it's Orica Green Edge. Big conference from yesterday have decided to come to the front, best possible place, keeping Matt Goss out of danger and keeping the pressure on, and it's the old man Stuart O'Grady.
O'Grady on the front now as they make their way up this little climb. He's trying to stretch the pace a little bit, and he's trying to set things up for Matt Goss. So O'Grady, a former winner of Paris-Roubaix, on the front. Following him is the team of Omega Pharma Quickstep. Mark Cavendish has got his troops sorted out. Also up there are the team of Astana. Astana all lining up behind with the turquoise colours. You wonder who they're going to try and bring through for a possible win. They don't have a magnificent sprinter, but maybe someone who just might sneak through. O'Grady still looking strong though on the front as he just turns the pressure on. So it's O'Grady followed by the rest of the Omega Pharma Quickstep team. Behind them, team of Katusha, we have Vini Fantini. They also have a few riders lined up. I wonder who they're going to try and bring through. They have, of course, got Francesco Kiki as their sprinter. He might be a possibility. He doesn't win many big races, but he can certainly sprint. There is Cavendish in the Maglia Azzurra, taking a last drink. Throws the bottle, and up comes Matt Goss looking for the wheel of his former teammate. Yesterday evening, Cavendish gave a little bit of a reminder, and that's what a leader's all about. He talked about his team and he wanted a little bit more from them. So today there'll be total focus in this squad. O'Grady still looking good at the front.
Yeah, just behind him and taking advantage of Stuart O'Grady is the whole team from Omega Pharma Quickstep, just sitting there nicely. 5.8 kilometres to go to the finish, and still a long way to go. You really don't want to be taking this up too early and wasting your energies, and Stuart O'Grady just ticking along, but Cavendish sitting there pretty, and I was thinking he'd be more confident today. He's got his lead out man just in front of him, and he's using Gert Steegmans.
He always uses Gert Steegmans as the last lead out man in the lead out train now of Omega Farmer Quickstep. Cavendish over on the left-hand side. Matt Goss has surfed his way onto the wheel of the Manx Missile, getting himself ready for the possible win here for Orica Greenedge. It's going to be a great run into the finish. Over on the right-hand side come Blanco, also up towards the front. AG2 La Mondiale with Belletti, who finished so well yesterday, but they've got to get themselves safely through.
Gossi, where are you going?
All over the
place
place here.
Gossi? He came up the side of Cavendish there, and took it wide, and he's lost 20 places now. He was given respect to Cavendish, but it's all these small efforts here that inside the last 5 kilometres, Cavendish as well, and they're looking for him. It was just that right hand corner there, and a few people just deciding to they were going too fast and went round the other way. So yeah, everybody looking behind. Terpstra not looking good, but they still got 4.8 kilometres to get it sorted, and AG2 La Mondiale looking at Belletti, he's up there, so yesterday's second place, but a wee bit of easing now as the riders, and this is the worst thing you can have. If everybody starts easing off at the front, it's difficult for the sprinters to get through.
Well, the mistake by Goss means that Cavendish is now a long way back, and what could he do? You either crash, or you manage to get round and then you have to work your way back. So an attack now starts to happen, and it is one of the riders from Vini Fantini's just trying to stretch things out a little bit, and this is Rabatini, who will fancy this one. Rabatini is a rider who does go for the last-ditch breakaway, but can he hold off a group of riders like this? Well, if Cavendish's team isn't going to chase, because they've got to get him through the problems here of the peloton, and it's so compact now, there are no gaps. Cav's got to push his way through.
Well, last year everybody fell in love with Rabatini in Giro d'Italia with his stage one, and but back to the front of this bunch, and again Terpstra shouting out the orders. They're just waiting, they're trying to open the door and make space for some of the sprinters to come through as Blanco come back to the front with Team Saxo Bank. But yeah, just nobody taking control. That corner kind of messed things up for a lot of these sprinters teams.
So now Blanco in this new kit that we've got used to, the blue, white and black, they start to stretch the pace up a little bit. And interestingly, Alberto Contador is in second place in the string. Matt Goss now has found his way back up to the front, so he's looking good. Contador, what's he going to try out? He's not going to go on the attack, surely. He must be looking after the interests of Daniele Benati for Saxo Bank, but you just don't know with Contador.
I think with the rider, I think it's Paul Mertens there for Team Blanco, he just went accelerated, and just this is the best place for Contador to be. If anything happens inside the last 3 kilometres, then they get given the same time, so he's just moving to the front, keeping out of trouble. As we said earlier on in the programme, these are difficult times when you've got the spray coming up, and it's a bit of unorganisation.
Looking down on this peloton, 3 kilometres of racing remain as Lagutin, the Uzbekistan road race champion, decides to go on a last-ditch bid for victory for Vacansoleil, and he is opening up a bit of an advantage, and no team is going to chase yet. Cavendish is up towards the front. It's a tricky run-in, and Lagutin is really strong when he goes on this sort of move. 2.8 kilometres remain. He looked good at the weekend in the Italian races. Now as he makes his way through the slippery, slidey roads, Lagutin has the advantage.
Yeah, good place to go. Everybody knew that they were waiting. A dicey corner coming up fairly soon. He just double backs on himself, and Lagutin with I'd say a couple of 100 metres at the moment, and again a good place to go, because everybody looking behind, where is Cavendish, where is Goss, everybody not wanting to take it up. So with 2.4 kilometres to go, a good opportunist move. I don't think it's going to go to the end, but you never know.
2.5 kilometres remain, in fact almost 2 kilometres remain now as we head back down towards the finish line in Nani Scalo, as Sergei Lagutin of Vacansoleil, with their usual tactic, goes on the attack now. They don't have a sprinter really that they can set up for the finish, so they use all the other teams. They use the element of surprise. They like to attack. They've got riders like Thomas de Gent who tried to do this, but Lagutin has a slight advantage. Now there is one long line starting to form at the front of this peloton. 1.5 kilometres remain, and now there's a fast right-hander on white lines as Lagutin goes through. Now he's going to have to accelerate hard. There are puddles all over that corner. Through the bridge now, and it is still on the front. A couple of teams represented. Matt Goss is in third place, maybe a little bit too close to the front, but staying out of trouble. 1.5 kilometres remain on today's stage of Tirreno Adriatico, and Lagutin still has an advantage as they go through the final tunnel as we run in towards the finish. 1.1 kilometres now remain. Still one long line. The helicopter a long, long way away from these riders. He hits the red kite. 1 kilometre to go. It's Sergei Lagutin of Uzbekistan in the blue, white and lime green colours. Still piling on the pressure at the front. We can hardly even see these riders as they power their way along with the spray in the eyes. Where is Goss? Where is Cavendish? Yesterday we saw Goss take the stage ahead of Belletti, ahead of Cierlek. 5.25 hours of racing today. On the front of this peloton, it is Orica Greenedge, then Goss, then Cierlek, then Greipel. Cavendish is there somewhere. There is Tyler Farrar. Now they're going to start to lead things out. Cavendish is on the wheel of Peter Sagan. Matty Goss is there. Cierlek goes really early. Greipel's going to go for it on the left-hand side of the road. Cavendish is right in there. Who's going to get this one? Andre Greipel goes for the line. Who's got it? Sagan gets it in the middle. Peter Sagan of Cannondale just nips it on the line as he took it from Greipel and Cavendish either side of him. And Cavendish had nowhere to go. He was right on the wheel of Sagan. He tried to go round the right-hand side. Sagan was right on the barrier at that point. Greipel led him out, and that was a magnificent victory. Peter Sagan didn't get it right yesterday. He gets it absolutely perfectly right today. Well, he put in that big show of strength earlier on in the stage. Here we are, Brian.
Well, a good sprint here by Cierlek, but Greipel looking strong, and normally in this instance, Greipel would have enough power to go all the way to the line. Just when we were saying, I think Mark Cavendish just ran out of road slightly there. It was coming up fairly quickly, but when we said earlier in the programme, this man Sagan, you can never discount him. We didn't think he would be able to match the likes of Cavendish and Greipel. You know, I'm going to have to eat my words here because I think he's set himself up, and you know, all types of sprint there. He can sprint up hills. He can definitely you know, sprint with the best of them, but it was a messy sprint, but you know, he just won that fairly easily in the end. Just look at the power that Greipel put Greipel in that place. You would think Greipel's got this, but look at Mark Cavendish just sitting down there, can't go with the speeds, and Sagan just coming past to take it.
A magnificent victory for Peter Sagan as he beats Greipel and Cavendish on this run-in to Nani Scalo. There's confirmation then of today's result. Sagan wins. Cavendish takes second place. Andre Greipel in third. Cierlek in fourth. Goss is in fifth place. Another great sprint in Tirreno Adriatico today. You'll notice the barriers come out a little bit on the left-hand side of the screen as you see them, and Cav looked like he was going to go for it and then realised that there wasn't really any space, so he had to run at him quite late and it didn't have enough power. Sagan, supreme today.
Yeah, we were questioning Sagan yesterday. He got himself in the best place, and you know, everybody came round him, and today, unbelievable. You know, when you say Peter Sagan just done over Greipel and Cav, when we were thinking this is going to be a Greipel and a Cav you know, first match sprint, and Sagan just, again, he never stopped surprising us. Another good fourth place there by Cierlek. BMC's Hushoff was up there for another reasonable sprint for him, but you know, what a win again for Cannondale. They're having a great start to the season. We've just seen here, he just won it there with about half a bike.
Peter Sagan, with half a bike length, takes the stage. We'll be back in a moment.
Dealing with the challenges ahead requires focus, concentration, and a will to succeed. The International University Sports Federation, representing 163 countries, promotes sports values in tune with the academic spirit. Thousands of students from around the world participate in the events it organizes. And what do they learn? Friendship, integrity, cooperation, and achievement. The International University Sports Federation. Excellence in mind and body.
Every day is a new challenge, an opportunity to make a difference. Since 2005, FIFA has supported over 200 social development programs. FIFA's Football for Hope initiative is helping to change lives and bring hope through the power of football.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's live score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference in sport apps available on the App Store. Eurosport Player is the multi-screen service of the Eurosport channels. With Eurosport Player, watch Eurosport and Eurosport 2 live on computer, smartphone and tablet through a single subscription. Watch your favourite events through the catch-up service. Also enjoy exclusive content through the bonus channels. Watch up to 7 tennis courts simultaneously and follow your favourite players. Eurosport Player. All sports, all emotions.
Welcome back. Peter Sagan takes a thrilling stage victory to beat Mark Cavendish on stage 3 of Tirreno Adriatico. Andre Greipel led it out with a drag race, and Sagan had the power to come round him. Gerald Cielek in 4th place, another good day for him, and Matt Goss in 5th. Well, look at this. It was another wet day in Tirreno Adriatico. We haven't had a dry day yet, I don't think. As we look ahead to tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to race from Nani Scalo, where we are now, to Prati de Tivo. It's a mountain stage. 173 kilometers of racing. The Grand Tour riders such as Alberto Contador and Chris Froome need to come out tomorrow. Well, don't forget also you can join us on Eurosport for tomorrow's Paris-Nice stage of 220 kilometres. Lots of racing tomorrow. Well, thanks very much for joining us today. Another great day on Tirreno Adriatico from Brian Smith and myself, Anthony McCross.